Coming up on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, a review of the FIFA Confederations Cup. We visit the 6 host cities, meeting the people with a story to tell. And our journey's end is Rio, where Brazil met Spain in the final everyone wanted to see. But we begin in Sydney, where in June, Australia knew that a victory over Iraq would secure them a place at their 3rd successive FIFA World Cup. Tim Cahill, a scorer in each of the last 2 finals tournaments, was thwarted on more than one occasion as the home side dominated the opening period. Cahill was replaced by Joshua Kennedy with 13 minutes to play, and the substitute rose unopposed to score the only goal of the game. Cue wild celebrations from Holger Rossi ex-Socceroos, who'll join Asia's Group B winners, Japan, in next year's finals. In the region's Group A, Uzbekistan's fate was out of their own hands as they hosted Qatar. A win was essential, so when they fell behind to a first-half goal from Abdulkadir Ilyas, qualification for Brazil seemed a long way off. After a few strong words from coach Mir Jalal Kasimov at half-time, the home side turned things around. Substitute Oleg Zotiev was amongst the scorers as 5 goals in 30 minutes secured the Uzbeks a 5-1 victory. But would it be enough? They needed Korea Republic to get at least a draw at home to Iran. Failing that, Iran would have to win by 3 clear goals. There had seemed little chance of that happening in what had been a fairly one-sided first half in Ulsan. But after the break, some poor defending by Kim Yong-kwon enabled Reza Huchanajad to sweep Iran into a 60th minute lead. Fearing their own failure to qualify, the Koreans piled on the pressure. But time and again they were thwarted by some resolute defending from Carlos Queiroz's team. At the final whistle, Iran celebrated their qualification for a 4th FIFA World Cup. And they'll be joined in Brazil by their hosts, who finished ahead of Uzbekistan on goal difference. Back in Tashkent, news of Iran's victory had filtered through, and the Uzbeks' dream of a first FIFA World Cup appearance was put on hold. They will now play Jordan home and away in September for the right to face South America's 5th place side in an intercontinental playoff. Meanwhile, in the North, Central America and Caribbean zone, the United States, in white, were indebted to goalkeeper Tim Howard for keeping them on level terms with Honduras at the end of the first half in Utah. 1 goal settled the tie, and Fabian Johnson was the creator-in-chief. His pass was tucked away by Josie Altidore, who first caught the eye at the Confederations Cup 4 years ago. The USA now top the group, and they have a 6-point cushion over Honduras in 4th.
Fabiano Tagino Fernandes.
Brasilia's Estadio Nacional Mane Garrincha would host the opening game of the 2013 FIFA Confederations Cup. Hundreds of workers had spent 3 years realizing one of the last great designs of Oscar Niemeyer, the legendary architect who passed away in December. Among them was Fabiano Fernandes, who had been serving a 13-year prison sentence.
I
had been in prison for 4 years when I first learned about the stadium construction project on television. I thought to myself that I had to get involved, as I really wanted to change my life. I applied through a special program and was accepted.
The rehabilitation program that Fabiano was a part of allowed him to provide financially for his family whilst serving his sentence. And on completion of the stadium construction project, Fabiano was released from prison, fully 6 years ahead of schedule.
It's quite emotional for me to be here. It's a source of immense pride. I don't really have the words to describe just how I feel. This stadium changed my life. It took me away from where I was. For me to get up and go to work again in order to provide for my family with the full support of my co-workers was incredible. People looked at me and were saying, that guy wanted to change his life, and he did.
And in doing so, he contributed to what is a truly impressive stadium. A 68,000 capacity venue, which is second only to Rio's Maracanã in terms of size.
I'm proud of having worked at the National Stadium, and the whole world will watch Brazil take on Japan here. And one day, I'll see Vasco play Flamengo. My Vasco will beat them 4-1. You'll see.
24 hours before the big kick-off, Brazil's 2002 FIFA World Cup winning captain, Cafu, pays a visit to the Seleção's final training session. A few well-chosen words to a squad of players of whom much was expected went down very well indeed.
Brazil-Japan.
After a colourful opening ceremony, a spectacular opening goal scored by Brazil's latest superstar, Neymar. 3 minutes played, and Japan had hardly had a touch. Keisuke Honda threatened to draw them level, but Julio César was equal to his effort. The second half started much like the first, with Brazil extending their lead within 3 minutes of the opening whistle. Paulinho's fourth international goal delighting teammates and fans alike. Japan offered little resistance, and Joe, a late replacement in the squad for the injured Leandro Damião, completed a 3-0 victory for the host nation in injury time. Brazil would go on to win Group A ahead of Italy.
Francisco Brennand.
The work of Francisco Brennand is front and central in Recife. In the year 2000, Brennand was commissioned to design a sculpture park on the fringes of the city's old district to mark the 500th anniversary of the arrival of the Portuguese in Brazil.
That place, the monument, was commissioned centrally to celebrate 500 years since the discovery of Brazil. Curiously, some other Brazilian states were also invited to do the same, but none of the projects worked out. In Salvador, they built a caravel, but it was incomplete. When they launched the ship, it simply tipped over and sank.
The 86-year-old is Brazil's most prolific sculptor, although he started out as a painter. Today, at the family estate in the suburbs of Recife, Brennand's work is displayed for everyone to see. In all, there are some 2,000 sculptures on show, and for those who specialize in this area, it really is a wonderful place.
For me, it's now become a sacred place. Curiously, some people who come here, without me saying a word, have begun referring to it as a temple, a cathedral, when in reality, this place is simply falling to pieces.
The same certainly couldn't be said of the state capital's brand new stadium, the Arena Pernambuco, which is preparing to host 3 matches at the FIFA Confederations Cup. FIFA Secretary-General Jerome Valk joined members of the local organising committee for a pre-match tour of the arena, which he had visited at various points during the construction phase. And now, on June the 16th, the 44,000 capacity venue was ready to stage the first of those 3 games.
Spain, Uruguay.
Spain impressed hugely against South America's champions Uruguay. Dominant throughout, they took the lead with a deflected effort from Pedro. Unbeaten in 25 competitive matches coming into the game, the world and European champions doubled their lead on 32 minutes when Roberto Soldado scored his 6th goal on only his 10th appearance for his country. Uruguay managed only 2 efforts on target, but from one of those, Luis Suarez managed to beat Iker Casillas with a stunning free kick. 2-1 to Spain, who would go on to finish top of the group.
Antônio Carlos dos Santos, vovô.
Brazil's first capital, Salvador, has a rich African heritage dating back to the time of the slave trade. Back then, once they'd secured their freedom, many former slaves settled in the city's Liberdade neighborhood, which is now home to some 400,000 people. And among them are members of Ilha I.
We wanted to create a bloco, or street band, here in Salvador, right here in Liberdade. Before the formation of the bloco, we had a São João group, a Mortalha group. During Carnival, we hosted parties and football matches. All of it happened here at my mum's house, on the Terreiro de Candomblé. We decided to create a street band in which only black people could participate. We could empower them through Carnival and seek to fight racism here in Bahia.
Much has changed since 1974 when Vovô co-founded Ilha I. The group has evolved from a purely local organisation to one which seeks to spread the message and rhythm of Afro-Brazilian music throughout Brazil and beyond. Even today, all of the members are locals, despite requests from composers and singers from across the country to join the group.
Our music was a very important factor in re-establishing our self-esteem. So everything we heard that had a negative connotation, through music we reversed. So we would sing, "Black is beautiful. The hair of the black women is beautiful. Negroes smell very nice. I am an intelligent Negro."
Salvador's new purpose-built arena Fonte Nova is also a thing of beauty. Boasting 48,000 seats as well as a football museum, the stadium was built on the site of the old Fonte Nova and was used for 3 matches at the FIFA Confederations Cup. The first would feature the champions of Africa and South America.
Nigeria, Uruguay.
The Arena Fonte Nova had first opened its doors in January, with domestic fixtures serving as test events for the FIFA Confederations Cup. Now, as then, local cuisine was on offer inside the stadium, this time at official stands, following a decision by FIFA and the local organising committee. Stomachs full, it was time for the game. And it was Uruguay that opened the scoring. Diego Forlan, the provider, and his captain, Diego Lugano, with a finishing touch. Disappointment for the many fans supporting Nigeria soon dissipated when John Obi Mikel, playing in a more advanced role, skillfully fired Nigeria level. It certainly went down well with the locals. The game was decided by a tremendous strike from Forlan, his 34th goal on his 100th appearance. Nigeria had been beaten and would soon be heading home, but they'd enjoyed entertaining the Afro-Brazilian fans.
Yeah, it was amazing. Just want to say thank you to Salvador and to the people of Salvador, and let's see how it didn't work out for us this time, but we cross our fingers to be here again to make the people happy.
Dari Zé dos Santos, o famoso Dada Maravilha.
He may not be instantly recognisable to fans around the world, but Dada Maravilha is one of Brazilian football's most prolific strikers. Only Pelé and Romario have scored more. It was his goal against Botafogo that secured Atlético Mineiro of Belo Horizonte Brazil's first national championship in 1971. He scored as many with his head as he did with his feet, and he would have relished the opportunity to entertain the masses in the city's redeveloped stadium, the Mineirão.
As a lover of the ball and as an ex-footballer, it's great to see Belo Horizonte and this monument being talked about in Brazil and throughout the world. As a Brazilian, I'm extremely happy that people around the globe will be watching a World Cup in Brazil. There are doors that can be opened to Brazil. I am certain that after the tournament, nobody will think that Buenos Aires is the capital of Brazil. They will know about our country from top to bottom.
6 of the 8 teams played at the 62,000 all-seater venue. Among them Japan, who, as ever, were followed by a phalanx of photographers and journalists. And with Japan having already qualified for the 2014 FIFA World Cup, they were using this trip as a fact-finding mission for next year.
The most important thing I realized was that rather than reserve accommodation, I must always book flights. The biggest difference between here and Japan is that Brazil is a huge country and the airports are open 24 hours a day. So, after the game, we can move to the next location in the middle of the night. I'm planning on renting an apartment to base myself in Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo.
Japan, Mexico.
Japan and Mexico were playing for pride after both had lost their first 2 fixtures against Italy and Brazil. The first half finished goalless, but 9 minutes after the interval, Javier Hernandez, who'd scored a penalty against the Italians, gave Mexico the lead. Alberto Zaccheroni had seen his Japan side concede 7 goals in the first 2 games. Hernandez's second made it 9-3, and there'll be work to do on shoring up that defence before they return to Brazil next year. The press pack's patience was eventually rewarded 4 minutes from time when Shinji Okazaki, one of 8 Germany-based players in the Japan squad, grabbed a consolation goal. 3 defeats from 3 games was a disappointing return for the Asian champions. They and many of their media representatives were on their way home after the group stage, along with Mexico, Nigeria, and Oceania's champions Tahiti. But Japan will be back.
Mirandinha.
Now 54, Mirandinha, or Francisco Hernani Lima da Silva to give him his full name, was the first Brazilian to play his football in England's top division. He was signed by Newcastle United in 1987 after scoring almost a goal a game for Palmeiras. He also played for Botafogo and Corinthians and is now the general manager at Fortaleza's Estádio Castelão.
We had the honour of being the first venue to be inaugurated. Ours was the first arena for the 2014 FIFA World Cup to officially open its doors. We do have a great responsibility towards local football. Arena Castelão will be home to the leading clubs in the area. That will secure continuous use of this great facility throughout the year.
Mirandinha played and coached at the original Castelão, which was demolished and rebuilt in preparation for the FIFA tournaments both this year and next. Its capacity has been increased to 58,000, and it's sure to be a popular venue when it hosts 6 matches at the 2014 FIFA World Cup.
Our World Cup is an event that will take place in our own backyard. We must make the most of this opportunity to appreciate all Brazilian footballers and all those who make up the Brazilian football family. We should make the most of this organisational education, which comes from having a World Cup held here by FIFA.
Singer Shakira was one of the VIPs in Fortaleza for the semi-final between Spain and Italy. Their partner, Gerard Piqué, would line up for Spain, who were targeting a place in the final against Brazil, who'd seen off Uruguay the day before.
Spain, Italy.
Spain had defeated Italy to retain their European title 12 months earlier, and they were widely expected to triumph again in Fortaleza. But an attack-minded Italy weren't here just to make up the numbers. As at Euro 2012, Cesare Prandelli's team won many admirers, but neither they nor Spain were able to find the net in an enthralling game that would require penalties to separate the sides. The first 12 spot kicks had all been scored, as Leonardo Bonucci stepped up hoping to put the Azzurri 7-6 ahead. Jesus Navas now had the chance to win the game for Spain. Italy would beat Uruguay to finish third, but could Spain defeat Brazil to complete the full set of trophies? In the build-up to the final, Rio de Janeiro's iconic stadium Maracanã staged an event that was organised by the host nation of the 21st FIFA World Cup. Russia will welcome the world in 2018, and members of their local organising committee treated their invited guests to what they described as a journey of discovery.
Our LOC is not a man's world. Now pass on to...
Also there, as part of the delegation, was the man charged with making sure that Russia qualify for the 20th FIFA World Cup in Brazil. And whilst he was here, there was homework to be done.
From a sporting standpoint, it's important to get a feel of where you'll be playing, the difference in climate between the north and the south of the country, the pitches and logistics, all of which will help when the World Cup comes around.
The 10th edition of the FIFA Confederations Cup will be held in 4 Russian cities: Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kazan and Sochi, and it all takes place in June 2017.
The final, Brazil-Spain.
On June the 30th, thousands of Brazil fans flocked to their recently refurbished Temple of Football for the climax of this FIFA Confederations Cup. It would be the first meeting between Spain and Brazil for 14 years, since when both nations have lifted the FIFA World Cup. Brazil were making their 105th appearance at Maracanã, where they'd lost only 7 times previously, although one of those defeats did cost them the 1950 FIFA World Cup. Fred's early goal, his 4th of the tournament, served notice of their intention to get the right result here. Not to be outdone, Neymar, who would pick up the golden ball as the tournament's outstanding player, scored his 4th in 5 games to double Brazil's lead on the stroke of half-time. Spain's record unbeaten run of 29 competitive internationals was coming to an end, a fact confirmed by Fred, who scored his 2nd of the game soon after the interval. Spain later missed a penalty and had Gerard Piqué sent off on a memorable night for Brazil.
Today, we not only had the quality of our players to thank, but also the tonic of this Confederations Cup, the fans, the people. And it's important for that to continue, this union, this spirit. And I want to take this opportunity to say to you that we, the Technical Commission, Federation President Marin, and the players, we want to thank the entire population, our fans, for everything they have given us.
For a 3rd successive tournament and for a 4th time overall, Brazil were crowned champions of the FIFA Confederations Cup. they'll be the team to beat in 2014. Next time on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we catch up with Ronaldinho. We travel to Fortaleza for the colourful São João festival. And we meet Stefania Lacerda, a serial volunteer who'll again be on duty next year. Until then, goodbye.